This is Prabowo Subianto, President-elect of Indonesia. The young man alongside him, his running mate, is the son of current President Joko Widodo, or Jokowi. They call them the number 2 candidate ticket, after the 3 frontrunners were each assigned numbers. Prabowo, with his trademark dancing at this high-energy event, was able to connect with many young people. He will now prepare to govern the world's 3rd largest democracy and one of the world's fastest growing economies. For many Indonesians who did not vote for Prabowo, the former general is emblematic not of continued economic growth and prosperity, but of a 3 decades-long authoritarian era that only ended a generation ago. I went to Jakarta to meet with politicians and activists alike, just days after an election where there were some old faces rebranded with new tools to a new digital-first generation. I see this, you have a shirt underneath that has Prabowo on it. Yeah.
But I look casual,
Can you just open the... Oh yeah, Prabowo.
Yeah, Prabowo-gibran.
Anthony Leong is one of Prabowo's biggest supporters and works on the team that took an army general in his 70s with a checkered past and made him a hit among the TikTok generation. Salwa Nadhira is a researcher and activist, unhappy with the results of the vote, worried about the future of the environment and democracy in her country.
You know, after the quick count results, it makes us really disappointed, really. During the campaign time, we organized many discussions, and also we made a lot of, social media contents to try to expose more people to, this election is really important, choose wisely, and so on. All of the organization of it, we still lose.
Number 1 candidate Anies Baswedan finished 2nd in the poll with 25% of the vote. He has challenged the electoral results and appealed to the Constitutional Court, calling for a rerun. On the campaign trail, Prabowo Subianto promised continuity and growth. The other candidates argued he was instead opening the door to dynastic politics with Jokowi's son Gibran as his running mate. Prabowo has run for president twice before. 5 years ago, he lost to Jokowi. Prabowo's running mate at the time was Sandiaga Uno, who you see on the right. One of Indonesia's richest and most prominent men. I met him just after he lost that last election. Uno has done a lot of party hopping since then, and is currently Indonesia's Minister for Tourism and Creative Economy. This time around, he backed Ganjar Pranowo, who came 3rd in the poll.
When I visited you guys in Istanbul, it was just right after the 2019 presidential elections. We lost to the current president, Pak Jokowi, right after the elections, and we went into COVID. And the country was devastated, in particular on the tourism and creative economy side. So the president invited me to help and contribute, and I remember it was around end of December. We were at the height of this COVID attack, and I was being asked to revive the tourism and prepare it to the post-pandemic tourism that was actually the 2nd largest contributor to foreign exchange reserves of Indonesia. So 4 years later, I'm here.
The metrics seem to suggest that tourism is doing well, the economy is doing well. Despite that, do you feel a sense of regret, maybe that your timing wasn't right, given that you were Prabowo's running mate when he lost, but he's more successful at a different time a few years later?
I have no regrets. I think the last campaign we did very well. in energizing the crowd and mobilizing the base. And unfortunately, it was 5 years too early. Now reaping to the success, and I'm in a different camp in 2024, but I feel very grateful that the election has relatively, it was smooth elections and a much better elections than 2019.
Almost 300 million people in this country, massive country. I just learned recently that end to end it's got a greater width than continental United States.
Yes.
You're a middle-aged man, but you're a young middle-aged man, young and fit. This is a very young population. Do you get them? Do you get what they want? Do you know them? Do you feel you know them?
I cannot say that I understand them 100% because they are completely different generations. They are native in digital technology. That's why digital economy is going to be very, very important, and our transformations to make Indonesia's livelihood and the whole country digitalized is going to hinge on whether the government understands, whether the government gets what these young populations really want.
Do some of them in government not get it?
Fortunately, majority gets it. Some still prefers the old-fashioned way. I believe that the old-fashioned way is good in terms of reminding us of our culture, our past, our values. But we need to learn a lot from these new generations who have been very, very quick in terms of innovations and the ways that they push collaborations.
Indonesia is a nation of multiple ethnicities, languages, and identities. It's secular and majority Muslim. It's a difficult balancing act that can sometimes strain the country's unity. There were 200 million voters in these elections, choosing from a pool of what started out as 10,000 candidates across the country's 6,000 inhabited islands. Continuity was a major feature of almost every candidate's platform. Indonesia is growing fast and getting wealthier, but it still has millions of people living below the poverty line, which means for many, continuing that growth is a higher priority than any academic debates about democratic optics. One of the issues of continuation is that Jokowi, he essentially endorsed and anointed Prabowo, the man he defeated twice before, and not only that, his son is the running mate of Prabowo. Did that make your job much easier this time around, that the president who was on his way out, who had all the support, said there'll be continuity, I support Prabowo and my son is his running mate?
I think Indonesia has chosen the best. Prabowo Subianto will become the president of the highest and largest voters in the world, 100 million people. Yeah, our commitment for Indonesia is the sustainability, is the not transition but sustainability and developing of the Jokowi program. I think Prabowo is already have the get more young voters, young voters in the social media. And
do you feel responsible for that?
Yeah.
Do you feel it was part of your work?
I'm responsible, and we take benefit of the TikTok algorithm also. Young people, when open the TikTok, he can see Prabowo's campaign, because I think like the Gemoy,
being the cute grandpa. Were you involved in that?
We are
the dancing and the grandpa,
I think
and all of
we
that.
are just like, I think this is very original, very organic, and we can see In the survey also, in polling, younger people vote for Prabowo. Yeah, I think this is the young era, digital era, millennial era.
What is it specifically, especially with regards to the work that you do and the speciality that you study with sustainability, with forestry? What is it especially that you don't like about the Prabowo team?
We think the solutions offered by the number two candidates is not really true solution for this climate crisis, because they endorse carbon capture and storage technology. The money that can be utilized for the renewable energy research will be allocated to this fake solution. The candidates number two will continue many mega projects of Jokowi that we think problematic, such as the food estate and also the Nusantara, the new capital.
Nusantara is the name of what may soon be Indonesia's new capital. The current one, Jakarta, is literally sinking. The roots of the problem going back to Dutch colonialism and how they built the city's canals. More recently, it's become a problem of poor urban planning. There is an urgent need to do something about it. But is Nusantara the solution? Second-placed Anies Baswedan is the only main candidate who opposes the project. He says the multi-billion-dollar plan to move the capital from Jakarta to the jungles of East Kalimantan might cause economic and environmental destruction. Yet, almost 60% of Indonesians backed Prabowo in the vote. The new capital's construction is already underway. Agung Wicaksono is tasked with convincing investors.
I would say that this is not just a project. It's even more than a program, but it's a vision of the country. Our founding father, the first president of Indonesia, President Sukarno, had that vision already, that the capital city should not be here in Jakarta, but in the island of Borneo. So if you ask me, it's difficult. Well, it's challenging, but it's not just a project that President Jokowi presiding now, but it's him that enable the execution of the vision of President Sukarno. And I'm basically just the salesman to make that happen.
Are you a good salesman?
So this is probably the toughest marketing job I ever had. I need to move heaven and earth to make things happen. But I think, to be fair for now, we have so far about 3.2 billion US dollar of investment, not only being committed, but also being constructed already at the new capital, while at the same time, of course, the construction using the government budget is nearing about 70% for the government hub. So here we see that actually, the private investment is starting to catch up on what the government has executed in terms of the basic infrastructure. So that this year, 2024, we're going to see, number one, a completion of part of the government hub, and number two, a gradual move of the civil servant to the new capital city, and most importantly, the symbolic would be when the Independence Day ceremony of Indonesia, for the first time, will be held in the new capital city.
So that's the hope, that big day, right?
Exactly.
You have enough to showcase the beginnings of it on that day. 3.2 billion sounds like a big number, but in the context of this, 3.2 billion of how much do you need?
Well, the figure has it that for the capital city to be constructed, it will require about 32 billion US dollar. So yeah, it's 10% of all what would be needed. And actually, it's about 80% for the construction for this $32 billion will be required from the private sector. But remember, this is a city not built starting yesterday or last week to be ready by today. This is a city started construction only last year, but it will achieve the peak to be part of what we call a golden Indonesia in the year 2045.
The scale of Nusantara is mind-boggling. It's ambitious, it looks impressive in digital renderings and miniature models, but can it really be done right? sometimes with great ambition, there's the possibility of hubris, there's a possibility of getting sloppy, there's a possibility of flying too close to the sun. There are people with concerns. Do you accept those concerns? Do you accept that if it's not done right, especially somebody you've managed wealth before, a lot of money, are you cautious and wary of the fact that this could be messed up or squandered?
If we're not careful, yes, I agree with those criticisms. You cannot just let the government lead this process, but you need to bring all stakeholders. You need to bring private sectors. You need to get in the communities, in particular of preserving the sustainability aspect of building the city. You need to build infrastructures, not just using the government fund, but bringing the private sectors. It may be tedious, it may take a longer time, but I think we should be fiscally disciplined when we're building something of that strategic. And third, I think we need to be completely transparent to not just to the people at large, but in particular to also to the institutions of higher learning, universities. They need to get involved because I was working for the Jakarta government before I went into the national politics, and there are issues here, and we continue to work finding solutions. We need to be open-minded about it, and we need to embrace constructive criticism and hope that those criticisms can help us build a better, livable and lovable, sustainable city.
Environmental campaigners say Nusantara could cause ecological disaster and the displacement of the indigenous Balik people. They fear what might be good for big business and the politicians might be devastating for the people and the environment. Among the most concerning aspects of the project is what will happen to the more than 250,000 hectares of forest that currently occupy the Nusantara site.
Right now, if you see the city, surrounding it are production forests. So you'll see eucalyptus tree. But we just had a meeting this morning, for example, that the government is committed that we're not going to continue to make this a production forest, but we'll replant them with endemic plants which has higher biodiversity, so that, Nusantara, which is part of Borneo, will make it as the tropical lung of the world.
I spoke with Agung Wicaksono, who is dealing with investment for Nusantara, and he said this is not deforestation, it's reforestation, because yes, you'll have 200,000 hectares that will be lost, but only a small portion will be built up for the city, and a huge amount will be reforested and made even better.
Yeah.
Do you see any value in that?
The land where it is located, actually a forest area that is leased to many concessions. It's already degraded 50%, and the new capital targets to be a 70% forest cover.
Right.
Yeah, but it's only 40%, and they want to reforest 30% more, and it's a really, I think, really difficult work to reforest a bare lands. It's already difficult to reforest degraded forest. How you can reforest a bare land that have been used for mining, for plantation forest? It will cost so much money to reforest it.
Is there a plan for Jakarta?
Now, if you see Jakarta here, with all the skyscrapers, and the fact that Jakarta is in the island of Java, where actually it only has about 10% of the whole area of the country, but almost 60% of the population, almost 60% of the economic activity is happening in this place. So going to Nusantara is not about leaving this place, but it's about reducing the burden that this place has to carry. There's a saying that in Indonesian language, the capital city is called as the mother city, Ibu Kota. Jakarta right now is both the mother city, as the capital, and the father city. But when Nusantara becomes the capital city, becomes the mother, Jakarta will always be the father, and the father and mother will work together to make the nation.
For many Indonesians, Prabowo is a symbol of continuity, with Nusantara just one aspect of it. Finishing the job that Jokowi started. But it's not all about looking forward. Opponents have been less able to forget Prabowo's military past, where he served as a senior figure under Suharto, who is also Prabowo's father-in-law. They connect Prabowo with atrocities in East Timor in the 1970s and 80s, and the disappearance of student protesters in the 1990s. Prabowo has always denied the accusations. Salwa, is part of your frustration that the young people who democratically voted were not aware of or discussing the issues that mattered? Yeah,
what we kind of learned from this election that the general population of youth in Indonesia, they really think more about welfare and also about employment, not really care about politics. That they don't really think politics will really be important to their life. And so even if there are already many public discussions, many innovative platforms to educate people about this politics, it's only accessed by youth that already interested in politics. I think we have to admit that the number two candidates have did a really great job in campaign to youth. I think you have really get the essence of the people, the young people today in Indonesia.
Right. Could you give me one example, Anthony, of something that you worked on in the social media influencing campaign that you feel was successful and led to people voting for Prabowo?
We are developing of the digital platform like AI platform, Prabowo-gibran.ai, and Prabowo-gibran.ai is the digital platform for the volunteers. We have already collect around 18,000 members of the Prabowo-gibran digital team. They become our influencer, become of our content creators.
Do you feel you created that?
And our volunteers have different background education, but if we use AI, artificial intelligence, we can accelerate and harmonize all the strategy.
But AI can be used for bad things also, right?
Yeah, I think
fake videos.
Good and bad things is also,
You can create videos of your opposition that they didn't say.
Yeah, our volunteer is focused on the positive campaign. We are focusing on the sustainability of the Jokowi roadmap and etc. I think we are doing all the positive way. We have been attacked in another candidate, like from the debate, the third debate, the third debate in the general election is very bad. We have been attacked
by
Anies, by Ganjar, and in the social media we get the sympathy, we get the empathy from the society. Prabowo have all the reasons to attack Anies and Ganjar, but he don't want to use the content attack. The Prabowo followers in Instagram before the third debate is like maybe 6 or 7 million, can become 8 until 9 million. I think
so. You used the narrative of sympathy from the people to show that the other two candidates were attacking Prabowo. Rather than attacking them, you used social media to show that it was unfair that they attacked him.
Yeah, the campaign for the attacking is failed because Prabowo get the sympathy, get for the social media very trending. The Prabowo not attacking back. I think social media also Prabowo gain 2 million followers, almost 2 million followers. Digital campaign.
Do you publish negative things about the others?
We are never. we never do the negative campaign. Negative campaign never. How about the black campaign? I think yeah, Prabowo received a lot of black campaign and negative campaign, but we are not.
Such as what?
Yeah, like Prabowo sick, Prabowo go to hospital, went to hospital.
Gibran, Raka Booming Raka.
Just days before the election, a movie dropped online. It told of a grand conspiracy in the highest offices of power, colluding to rig the vote in favor of Prabowo and Gibran. The video was viewed by millions of Indonesians.
I didn't participate in the producing of the movie, but many our members and also participants really learned a lot from that movie. No one really addressed about this issue, about the campaign rules violation and about the how social assistance program is, many government programs are channeled to the candidates number 2 allegedly, but even if it's only allegedly,
You want it to be taken seriously,
yeah,
to be discussed.
we want it to be taken seriously by the law apparatus and also the election supervisory board, and then to the constitutional courts. Yeah, so that's why I thought that we will try to fight till the end to have a really legitimate result, and we will have a really legitimate president and vice president, and also parliamentary members.
Indonesia is growing, it's stable, it's democratic and free. But can all these things continue to exist at the same time? That will be President Prabowo's challenge.